Hello YouTube, De-bodgery here. I have made some progress on the Dualtron City, so thought I'd do a quickie video and show what that stuff is. This is a wood frame. It's basically a spacer that sits on top of, the original deck to take up that gap and to give me a little bit of a height on top of the pack. All the holes in here match up with all the holes that are already in the frame. So that fits right in, and of course that front part right there fits around all of that stuff right there. And I'll be able to put some kind of a sealant. I'll probably just use weather stripping on the top and the bottom of this to seal all that stuff together so that dirt and stuff doesn't get in. And like these ports right here where they're open, I'll do the same thing. I'll probably pack that with foam, like weather stripping, so that water can't get in there. Or maybe I'll just do it like right here. That's probably better. Yeah, that's easier. That way I can keep water and dirt ingress and all that kind of stuff from happening. But yeah, that's completely done. And things like this screw down on top of it, all that stuff fits, so I'm good to go with all of that kind of thing. So let's just start here, since that's the highest level stuff. So this switch right here it's labeled spare switch. Says it right there. Dualtron basically made a whoopsie, I think, and had a hole, and so they filled it with this switch, and I've reused it to turn on my my main MOSFET switch is right here, which eliminates several things. So I don't need pre-charge, I don't need a contactor, no breaker, or anything like that. That's doing all that stuff for me. And it's all controlled by this little switch. So it has a halo ring around it. I turn that on, you can see that's on. And that also powers up the DC to DC and provides battery voltage to both the motor controllers if they were hooked up, which they aren't right now. Anyway, up here you can see this is all lit up now. And if I turn off that switch down here, I'll go on camera focus and give it a second. There we go. The capacitors in the DC to DC drain out. Hit the button again, and all the stuff powers up. So down here I have indication that battery power is turned on, and up here I have indication that 12 volts is on. So that's good. Can't ask for more than that, other than like say a voltmeter or something up here that said 12 volts. But yeah, I'll settle for that. Okay, so a few other things. So this is my new flasher module. The one from Dualtron, it was a low side switcher. So it basically switched on and off ground, and it did it through two little teeny tiny MOSFETs, which was fine for the load that it was dealing with, because all I had to do was turn off a couple of LEDs back here, and that's all they did. But I've got more indicators now, so yeah, that wasn't going to cut it. So anyway, this flasher module, it was inside a plastic case, which I removed. And then I buried the whole thing in heat shrink and secured the wires with thermal glue, which is why that blob is inside there. But this takes up a lot less space without the plastic case, and, well, space is limited, and I guess I'll talk about that for right now. So, yeah, I've got a little hollow spot on top of right there, and then I've got this empty hole yet, and that's pretty much all the room I have to fit everything into, which I have left to put in into that space. So anyway, this flasher module turns on and off plus 12 volts, not ground, which is the right way to do it. And it flashes about once every half or 3/4 of a second, which is plenty good enough. This is my MOSFET switch, so there's 4 MOSFETs in here. They're P-channel, which means that they turn on when you ground their gates, and they turn off when you apply whatever your plus V rail is, in this case 12 volts, to them, and that causes them to turn off. So there's a little resistor, 1K, across the gate to plus 12 volts to turn them off. And then through the control wires, which are those right there, and through these switches up here, those ground the gates, to 0 volts essentially, and that causes the MOSFETs to turn on and start conducting current. And that's how everything is now controlled. And so these 4 MOSFETs inside here, they control my main lights, they control the RGB lights, they control the horn, and they control the original deck lights. So all that stuff is in here now, so that these very, very low amperage contacts and these switches don't have to do anything other than deal with, like 20 milliamps, which means they're going to last forever. Whereas before, especially like the horns are very, very spiky and noisy and make current jumps and all kinds of stuff like that. That switch is probably the first one to go, and then this one for the main lights would be the second one to go. But now that's not going to be a problem because, well, these are like 40 amp MOSFETs, so yeah, they're good to go. Next thing to show is this right here. So I'm going to change this. This is simply too big and I don't have the space for it. This XT60 will go away, and I'll just bring in the 2 DC to DC wires right into this little 12 volt terminal block. I want to keep this in here because there is potential opportunity for other 12-volt things, like say, oh, I don't know, USB charger, you know, if I do like say QC4 or whatever it is, whatever the current thing is, yeah, that could draw some significant current. So doing that right off of the DC to DC would be ideal. And I do want to have USB charging on the handlebars at some point, and I don't. But anyway, these two small wires, which are 14 AUG, those are still bigger than what Dualtron had in here originally. Go over to this little terminal strip. So this has got 30 positions in it. It's got 12 positions for 12 volts and 12 positions for ground, and it's both sides. So it's, you know, really 60 positions, right? And I've got some spares, so you can see those over there, which are not yet used. So I've got a few extras in here, but everything is all wired in that I need to wire in, and this is all the lighting in the horn and nothing else. All the controller stuff will go through this smaller one. I might need to add a few more positions to that one, or like maybe double the length of that one. But this has got 10 positions in it right now, which I believe is enough for the controllers. So like right there is one of the throttles and the De-Vega LCD, which is mounted. And over here is the other throttle cable, plus a few things that have got to come off the controllers down here, which will all go up to there. But I think this is enough. Anyway, enough about that part. Let's show real stuff. This connector right here and goes over to here, so that's my charging port, and that goes up to these two GX16s, so I can do charging. Up on the handlebars, of course, I have this little guy, and here is my flasher switch for left and right. So you can see it's flashing there, and flashing down there, and flashing back there, but it's not flashing there because these are now running lights rather than indicators. So yeah, I've got all kinds of indicators. These ones probably point down too far. I'll probably need to angle those up a little bit, make them more visible. But yeah, there's a bunch of indicators. And of course they work the same way on the other side. So again, you can see it there and there. All right, turn those off. I do have a problem with my flashers. I don't know what it's about. I'll talk about that after a while. So a different video, I showed the halo light. So here's the horn. You can see the halo light turn on when you push the button. Obviously horn works. And this one here just turns on RGBs, which I have set to red. So there's the RGBs. Ta-da. And this switch here turns on the deck lights and the little LEDs that shine down and shine Dualtron City on the street. So that's on, and of course you can see the little halos turn on and off. And you can see the deck lights, and it's not so visible, but yeah, you can see down here it's shining. It says Dualtron City there. It just doesn't focus real well. Anyway, yeah, so that's all on. That all works. And then turn that off. And then here is my main light. So that turns on my new headlights and all the running lights. And again, you can see the halo ring turns on. And so I've got end cap running lights. These little modules are dual LEDs, so directionals and running lights. So those are on, headlights are on. And let's go around the other side. But as you can see, like RGBs, deck lights, all this stuff are not on. And it also turns on these two center lights, which are dual LED lights. So those ones do brighten. It won't show up when I squeeze the brakes here in a second. But those are brakes and running lights. And these two right here, I've wired them as brake lights. So I'm just going to squeeze one of the brake levers here. So you can see the outside two turn on. But the two center two don't look brighter. But if you look at them directly on with the eyeball, maybe if I shine it down lower, it'll show up. Can't see the camera. But yeah, the two center LEDs actually do light up brighter when I squeeze the brake lever. But anyway, yeah, brake lights work. And yeah, those used to be the original directional lights back here, and they're not doing that anymore. Now that's these guys over here, and the same thing for the front ones are front. I thought these were too close together to be able to distinguish as left and right. You know, somebody glancing over, they wouldn't really see that. Whereas these over here have much more angle on them, and they're further up. So, you know, it's got a better chance of somebody seeing you actually like saying, okay, I'm going to turn right or left. And these didn't really. So anyway, yeah, those are just brake lights now. And then these center two are running lights and brake lights. Okay, so that's all the lights. So here's the weird thing, and I don't know what this is yet. I don't know, it could be a wiring problem. It could be I've got a mashed wire up here in the switch. I don't know what this is. But yeah, the headlights and all that stuff on, the main lights are on. If I do the directionals, see, nothing's happening. There's no clicking from down here. But as soon as I turn off the main lights, you can hear it clicking, and now the flashes work. And I turn on the main headlights, and of course it stops. Turn it off, and now we flash again. So it works with left and right. I don't know what that's about, but I've got some weirdness going on that I had to figure out. Anyway, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show off. I still have controllers to do. Got battery wires going to them, but I don't have all the small stuff hooked up yet. The back wheel is pretty much all in place. So that's all there, but again, I don't have all the small wires going in, and like in this case here, those are live, but they're not connected to the controllers either. So there's things to do. But hey, it's getting pretty darn close. I'm hoping by the end of July, maybe early August, this thing will be completely running, and it's super close now. All the lights work except for one little fiddly detail, which is yet to be worked out.